The Daily Briefing is coming live today from Dallas, Texas, as we see a big jump for President Trump's approval rating. The latest NBC Wall Street Journal poll finding a 3-point increase over the last month to his highest in office, 47%. That's topping President Obama's midterm numbers. So joining me here in Dallas, believe it or not, Jesse Waters, Juan Williams, and Greg Gutfeld. You know them from the Five, and we're going to be doing the Five here later. Great to have you guys.
Nice
Great to be
here,
Dana.
Oh, thank you so
Doing a
much.
great job out here.
Thank you so much. What do you think about President Trump's numbers? Do you think that's down to Kavanaugh, the economy, immigration?
No, it's down to the litigating lollipop, Michael Avenatti. You know that he was supposed to have a rally today? Do you remember that? That Avenatti was supposed to have a competing rally because Trump was going to hold a rally, right?
Tonight in Houston.
But I saw Avenatti coming in. He's on the highway with a sign that says, "We'll defend porn stars for food." That is how low he's got. But no, why aren't we holding him accountable? Because he said he was having a rally. That's why we came.
Is that right?
Nobody told me.
News to me. Yeah, really.
They actually did a big study, the Daily Beast, and they found that the guy owes millions and millions of dollars to the IRS and to creditors and to former
And to
business
one of the lawyers,
partners.
he got ordered today. Why are we talking about Michael?
I'm glad you said that because I have no idea except that you're having a convenient whipping boy here. I don't know.
Well, how about this? That President Trump's numbers are up by 3. It's better than Obama's was in the midterms. Juan, did you think you would see this moment?
Yeah, well, we're so tribal right now in our politics, and I think what you've seen is a real hike in terms of Republican enthusiasm in the aftermath of Kavanaugh. So I think that the overall enthusiasm for the midterms is so strong, and I think what you're seeing is that people are aligning with the Republican brand, and right now that's the Trump brand. Jesse,
the other point in the poll was, do you think this is an election as a referendum on President Trump? The vote signals support for President Trump, 29%, opposition, 33%. Neither is 36%. Most people think that, yeah, it is a referendum on the president. The president, though, starting to tap the brakes on that. Say, it's not my fault if the Republicans don't win. I've been working my rear end off.
Yeah, he's built an excuse in. So if the Republicans lose, it's not his fault. And if they win, it's his fault. It's brilliant marketing campaign strategy. And if you look also, there's another number that's pretty interesting. The generic matchup, I think, still has about a 7 to 9 point Democratic lead. But if you boil it down to the most competitive races, it's dead even. And that has to terrify people like Juan Williams, who's been saying this is going to be a wave election. This is going to be this and that. You now have the president's approval rating at almost the highest level since it's been. Rasmussen has him high 40s. Fox News has him high 40s. Those are very strong numbers. Those are almost coattail numbers, Juan.
Yeah. Have you noticed the disapproval numbers, Jesse?
You know,
they're higher than the approval numbers.
Yeah, the Democratic disapproval numbers are pretty high as well. So I think that's a wash.
And also, it's like there have never been this many people excited about a midterm election.
Correct.
Well, you know what irritates me is how the Democrats are saying that it's the Republicans who are stoking fear with all of these issues like immigration. And meanwhile, I'm getting emails from Nancy Pelosi, her fundraising emails saying, if you vote for the Republicans, they will take your Social Security. You will lose your Social Security. This is the same argument, remember, pushing Granny off the cliff, that they used on Paul Ryan. So on one side of the mouth, they're saying Trump's different, he's evil, he's rotten. But on the other side of the mouth, they're using the same exact argument they've used every 2 to 4 years.
You think maybe there's a reason that Mitch McConnell says, if we retain control of both, we're going to go after entitlement spending, and that's Social Security?
That's not what he said that it's a problem.
Yeah, there you go. And we're going to do something about it.
And Trump campaigned on not touching any of the entitlements. This guy's spending a lot of money.
That's true.
Spending like a Democrat, but cutting taxes.
But who would you rely on politically in terms of their skills? Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump.
Well, I think they've shown that they're actually pretty effective.
Right, but I'm saying, no, but Jesse saying to me, hey, listen, Donald Trump has promised not to go after Social Security, right?
Yeah.
But in fact, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, those guys are intent on reducing.
Paul Ryan, okay, can we talk about immigration for a moment? Because, Jesse, this caravan is continuing to move forward, super organized. And Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer put out a joint statement today, and they said, this is just a distraction from the real issue, which is pre-existing conditions and healthcare.
Well, it's not a distraction because when you look at the visuals on television, it's quite alarming. And this country is a fair country. We believe in immigration. We want people to come here in an orderly and lawful fashion. But we don't want just people coming in demanding to be American citizens. Being an American is a privilege. It's not a right. You don't come to someone's house, knock on the door, and then just barge in and say, hey, I'm moving in. Invite yourself. Is that right? Yeah. That's why you're never invited to any parties.
No. I remember when you came to my house and did that. It was very alarming because it was Halloween night. That guy looks like Greg Gutfeld.
I had my mask.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Caravan, Juan? I mean, this is, you do have the visual, you have the story. It is happening 2 weeks before the election. It's not that the Republicans didn't put the Caravan together.
No, but
It's being organized by someone.
Well, no, but clearly what you have is a moment where these people are seeking asylum, but they're portrayed in Republican advertising and the like as, you know, if not criminals, and I think that's what they're portrayed as somehow barging in, as Jesse was saying. I think what we're seeing here, I don't think it's barging to request. That's you're always talking due process. Due process we have in our immigration system says you can come to our border and apply for asylum.
Why don't they go to the point of entry? And they barged in pretty strong against the Mexican Border Patrol. Did you see those guys? That was rough stuff.
Right. Yeah. They're so violent. They're so threatening. Stop with
Let's
it,
get Greg's thoughts on
This
that.
is why they're shifting to healthcare, because this is a huge loss for the Democrats. When you look at the visuals and you see mostly young men fighting and waving the flags of their own country as they're demanding to come in here, which is a kind of a contradiction in messaging, that we are coming here, but we're proud to be X. Makes no sense at all. And I think it's really hurting the Democrats, which is why they're going after the pre-existing conditions, which Trump already said he's for.
That's right. Let me ask you, Jesse, how much do you love being in Texas?
I love.
Went for a run.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Got a massage. Okay, I don't know about Jesse Waters. He goes to Dallas, and the first thing he does is he gets a facial.
It was a barbecue facial.
It was a
barbecue facial. What they do to you?
Smoke. There's a lot of smoke.
You admitted that to Greg Gutfeld?
No, I did not. I got to look at so he'd say fake news on the air. I set him up perfectly.
Yeah, there you go.
But my skin does look good.
It's been
You're
like
glowing. You're glowing.
Well, I have a lot in common with it. It is the Lone Star State, and I am the Lone Star.
Yeah, really. Oh, yeah.
Of the show?
Yes.
Of the network, of the world.
I would say in all of broadcasting.
Probably.
From not just the past, but the future. They just should shut down broadcasting now. It's
Well,
over.
we'll finish the 5 later. So we're going to do that show next. Greg Gutfeld, Juan Williams, Jesse Waters, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Be sure to catch all of us on the 5 later today in Dallas at our normal time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. here in Texas. President Trump is set to host a rally for Senator Ted Cruz this evening in Houston. Cruz is a frequent target of Trump's jabs during the 2016 campaign. Is trying to hold off a challenge from Congressman Beto O'Rourke. Kristen Fisher is in Houston outside the site of the rally. Kristen.
Well, Dana, we all know how much President Trump cares about crowd size, and this crowd is not going to disappoint. The first person in line got here at 10 a.m. yesterday. Around 200 people camped out overnight, and these folks, what time did you guys get here today?
9:30 this morning.
9:30 this morning. So folks are waiting for literally hours to get in tonight and see President Trump and Senator Ted Cruz. The big draw, of course, President Trump. But another draw is the highly contentious relationship between these two men, President Trump and Senator Cruz. I mean, who can forget what the two said to one another during the 2016 campaign? The president called him Lion Ted. The senator called him a pathological liar, a sniveling coward. But, you know, this is politics, and this is 2018, and these two men really need each other. President Trump needs the senator to get reelected so that he can help him achieve his legislative goals. Well, Senator Cruz, he needs President Trump to help him get out the vote in what's become an uncomfortably close race against Democrat Beto O'Rourke, who's become the biggest Democratic fundraiser in the country. He's outraised Cruz by about $40 million. Now, over the weekend at a rally, President Trump said that Senator Cruz has really become a friend of mine. But Senator Cruz, he was asked point blank in an interview on another network whether or not President Trump was a friend or a foe. Here's how he responded.
He's the president, and he's the president. I work with the president in delivering on our promises.
So you can hear he didn't entirely answer the question there. So it's really just going to be fascinating to see how these two men interact on stage together tonight. And this is also the same day that early voting starts in Houston, just like there have been lines all over downtown Houston for this rally tonight. There have been huge lines for early voting as well, 2 weeks before Election Day. So voter enthusiasm very high, Dana.
Indeed. All right, Kristen, it looks like it's a lot of fun over there. We're going to talk to an expert about this early voting process. It's beginning today in the state. Thank you, Kristen. So, what do we have next here? All right, I don't have a tease here. I'm going to just continue to talk to you, but I will find out. Okay, that's it. Next, from the Southern Methodist University, we are going to have an expert on politics. We're live in Dallas. Be right back.